Okay, good evening, welcome to
AwesomeMath150.
Awesome Math number 150. So, yesterday we spoke about angles in a triangle.
Yep.
And what did we learn about angles in a
They
triangle?
add up to 180 degrees.
They add up to 180 degrees. So today, we're going to talk about angles in other kinds of shapes. So here's a four-sided shape.
Yep.
How could we figure out what the angles in a four-sided shape add up to?
Well, the four-sided shape, well, if you draw like a square is a four-sided shape, or a rectangle, I guess. It has four 90-degree angles.
Okay.
So it's 90 times 4, so it's 360.
Okay, so a square or a rectangle seems to have 360 degrees.
And then you can extend the lines a little and like bend the angles to create this shape. You can create any four-sided shape from a square.
Oh yeah, kind of like you had a square made out of rubber bands?
Yeah.
Alright. Interesting
So
idea.
that means that these angles add up to 360.
Well, that's a very interesting thought.
Yep.
But let me ask you this. How do you know the angles don't change in their sum when you're bending it all over the place like that? I mean, certainly, like
Well,
this angle's not a 90-degree angle. So how do you know that the angles didn't change in their
Well,
sum?
if you make like an equilateral triangle, these are all 60 degrees.
Yep.
And if you extend this line stays the same, but if you bend this line out,
Mm-hmm.
this angle changes. This angle gets larger, this angle gets smaller, this angle stays the same.
Okay.
And they get larger and smaller in a way that the sum of these is still 180 degrees.
Interesting. That's true. That's true. For a triangle, when you smush it around like that, it does seem to keep the same angle sum. That's interesting. I don't know if that would be the case for a quadrilateral or not, but maybe it would. I don't know. What else? What's another way we could look at this? A quadrilateral like that. Given that the only thing we know is that angles in a triangle add up to 180.
Well, if we could do it one based off a square, another one. If you cut a line down here,
Okay.
you get two triangles.
Oh, and now what happens when you bend that square into your quadrilateral? What happens to that line?
Well, let's say the line would be here, and
Okay.
you still have two triangles.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And what do you know about the angles in those two triangles?
These angles add up to 180. So, and then there's 180 times 2 is 360.
And do we get all the angles in that quadrilateral?
This one, and that one. Yeah.
Hey,
Cool.
how about that? So it looks like we can figure out that angles in a quadrilateral add up to 360
Yep.
by dividing it into two triangles.
Cool.
Now I'm going to draw a pentagon, but it won't necessarily be a regular pentagon, just a five-sided pentagon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How about like that?
That's not a regular pentagon.
That is definitely not a regular pentagon. How do you think we might be able to figure out the angles in that pentagon?
Well, we could do what we did before. These angles are going to have to add up to 360, but we don't know what they are. If it was a regular pentagon, these angles would all be the same.
Yeah.
It would be congruent. So they would be 72 degrees in a regular pentagon.
What makes you think they add up to 360?
Well, because you're doing the angles along. Because, well, you can't do 180 because 180 is just like this 180 degree angle is just a straight line, and then 360 is a full circle. And a pentagon, an n-gon, if you increase the size enough, it'll look like a circle.
Interesting.
And you have to get the angles right.
Well, but for a quadrilateral, we saw that it was already 360. But for a triangle, it was 180.
Well,
I wonder if there's anything we can say for a pentagon.
I think maybe, what if we divide it up? What if we put 2 lines in here?
What happens
This.
then?
Then we get 3 triangles.
Whoa.
So, and those lines will stay the same. If we draw another one, like this might not be this. Well, we can still draw the lines. So it's for it looks like it's for every pentagon.
Huh. And what do they add up to?
So this would mean it's 180 times 3. 300. So they add up to 540.
Interesting.
So
how many triangles was a pentagon?
Well, there are 3 triangles.
How many triangles do you think would be in a hexagon?
Probably 4.
Ooh. And how about a heptagon?
There would be 5 triangles.
And what about an octagon?
6.
Do you see the pattern?
Yeah, so if it's an n-gon, it has n minus 2 triangles in it.
So what do you think the sum of the angles is for an n-gon?
It's n minus 2 times 180.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. So that's what we're going to study tomorrow.
Okay.
All right. High five, sir. Great work.